What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Big Papa. That's Bobby Hoops. Welcome to the
It's
Gold
Bobby
Standard.
Hoops.
Welcome to the Gold Standard College Basketball Podcast. And as we say, Bobby Hoops, what's that? The standard is the
What do I
standard.
say? Oh, that standard. Yes, the
Yeah,
standard.
yeah. I picked
I'm
up
just
on it
it's we've
the
said
last
it 13, however many episodes we've done. We've said it every time.
yeah. I picked up on it. I was like, yeah, that's like a good bit of like a little bit of back and forth. We done it every time, and I should have told you. That
Not
was a little
this
bit of
time. No, no, not this time.
we went for the oop, and
we're both brain dead from all the ball we've been watching.
yeah, we've been sicko mode over feast week. We've I'd even put in the show notes. It's a day
A
before.
couple weeks.
Yeah, tomorrow will be 2 weeks since we last recorded, and a lot's happened. There's been a lot of ball. The first 48 hours were absolute nuts. If you don't follow us on Twitter, highly recommend it. I personally don't have a. I'll obviously follow Bobby on his personal account, but I deleted my personal one, so I
Not
kind
all
of
of us
live.
on there.
I live vicariously through our gold standard account. Um, we've just been willing and dealing, baby. Just anytime we see nutty highlights, whether it's Mizzou getting beat by Jackson State, or we're just like all in on uh, mid-conference games, meaning the guys who aren't in the Power Five, they're playing each other, in which you would say, why would you watch that? So why would we not? I mean,
It's
I
ball.
think yeah, it's ball. The way people feel about college football, you want to watch MAC stuff on a Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we feel about college basketball. So
Yeah.
that's what we've been doing. I think before we get into our respective teams, I made a note to say, let's just go over some scores real quick that maybe jumped out. Which, after I said that and thought about it, everybody pretty much who should be winning their games won their games in the SEC.
Yeah.
I mean, I went all the way back to the day after we recorded. The only one that from like November 10th, A&M took it to Ohio State, went on the road. So that was big for them early on. I think that was only like game 2 or 3. And then you get Florida in a close one with Virginia. The reason I bring that one up is because Virginia just got hammered by Wisconsin. Nice little 20 piece. Makes you wonder,
Yeah.
oh, okay, maybe Florida's not too far off as we thought, as we talked about in the previous episode or 2 episodes ago, where I was like, I don't know what
Well,
they're going to be.
I know Virginia is not quite what they were a few years ago, but like Tony Bennett is still runs, I mean, one of the best basketball programs in college basketball, and
Sure.
beating Virginia. I mean, or hanging with Virginia. Was that Florida game at Virginia or at Florida?
It was at Florida.
Okay, well, that makes a little more sense. But
Yeah.
still, Virginia's Virginia. They won an Natty a few years ago.
Yeah. I mean, they're, outside of getting beaten the round one a couple years ago, like they're consistently
Mm-hmm.
good. Tony Bennett's legit. If you don't care for slow it down, walk the ball up the court type of offense, but they play hard D, maybe that's your team. Otherwise, I'm like, I'll just take a nap and I'll wake back up later.
Yeah, yeah.
Bama's out here still putting up 100 points. Makes me want to just puke. I can't stand
Mm-hmm.
it. Tennessee, we were just
Almost
talking
as
about
if
LSU.
they have at Alabama, almost as if they have one of the best coaches in the SEC.
Yeah,
Give me
one
a
of.
break. One of we.
For
I'll just
those,
say it. I'll call a spade a spade. I said on this show a few weeks ago that he is one of the best coaches in the SEC. One of,
yeah,
and I've I caught some flack for that, and I
for
don't
those
think it's fair.
who fellow consistent and one of our biggest fans, Kelsey Sherrod, uh, sent a text and was just basically questioning Bobby Hoops and saying, "Do we need a statement that he just said um, Nate Oates is the best coach in the SEC?" Which I quickly was like, "Uh oh, no, like surely he didn't." Then I went back and you said he's one of the best, but
One of fake news, Kelsey.
Oh,
He's one of the best. He
I
is.
agree.
I mean, I'm like,
Yeah,
that's not a lie to say that.
no, it's factual.
Anywho, let's get back here. I had to
Not
just
not that you were holding on to
win.
that for uh Tennessee goes on the road to Wisconsin, wins 80-70.
Yeah,
Oh
good one.
gosh, I forgot. Missouri lost another game too to Memphis, 70-55. Shucks. Dang it.
Dang it.
What else? I
Hey, what
mean,
was
like,
the
oh,
quote he said after the Jackson State loss? Hit us
yes,
with it.
Dennis Gates, and I quote, after losing by a point to Jackson State, who coming into the game was 0-5. He said, Jackson State's probably the best 0-5 team in America. Here's the thing, Jackson State was the only 0-5 team coming into that game.
So he wasn't wrong. It
No.
wasn't wrong, but still, I
Oof.
probably would have. He probably said the quiet part out loud there. Should have just let that one just float
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. For those, that's, you know, I mean, that's Coach Speak wanting to give props to the other team for winning, and you should,
Yeah,
unless you want to, you know, spin it some other direction. But it just is like, probably looking back on that one and thinking, probably shouldn't have
yeah.
said that line. So the other big one, honestly, was probably UNC Greensboro going down to Arkansas, beating them on the Hogs home court. Uh-oh. Is it,
That
are we
that almost doesn't really. That is, I mean, if Arkansas is what we think they're going to be this year, we think they're going to be really good.
yeah.
To me, they brought in so many transfers. This is a new team. I'm sure they're still figuring each other. I mean, it's kind of like Kentucky over the last 5, 6, 7. Like you got a bunch of young guys who haven't played a lot together. They're going to drop one or two that they probably shouldn't based on
Yeah.
their talent, but I think Arkansas will be fine.
Yeah. And I think we said it previously, but games in November it doesn't matter. I mean, they're just fun to talk about. And because it's not like college football where you only get 12 games or more, if it's a bowl or in the playoffs. With college basketball, you get, 30-ish plus conference. Well, yeah, that may or may not be factored into it already, but you get a lot more of a bigger schedule. So, and I think
Yeah,
that
the best thing is that if you have a good win in November or December, it looks nice on your resume going into
yeah,
March, but you're not going to be the same team you were for the most part.
no, committee's not going to be like, ooh, saw you lost that game to UNC Greensboro a couple months ago. Might have to dock you a couple
Yeah.
seed lines there. So, other than that, everybody kind of handled their business. It was great. Just like the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to Missouri, though. Thank you, Dennis Gates. I honestly still think they'll be fine. But, for the Missouri fan or fans, if there's multiple out there, which I know are many haters of us, your coach, still believe he's going to be gone. So enjoy it for whatever it is. Hey, outside of that, Vols, like we already talked about, went to Wisconsin. They won. They handled their stuff at home. And now they're in Maui. Do
Yeah.
you want to take us to Honolulu? What have you been noticing of,
Yeah.
if you want to talk about the last couple games, what's your thoughts so far?
So far, I think the biggest thing, a lot of what the team looks similar to what's been just by pure the fact of we just have so many returning players. I mean, almost the entire team, but and then you throw in Dalton Connect, who has just that's the biggest takeaway so far. He has it's been only been 4 games, but he has absolutely been as advertised so far. That dude can ball, and he is filling up the stat sheet every game. He's our leading scorer every game. He led us in scoring yesterday in the big win over Syracuse, and he barely even played a lot of the second half. He was dealing with some cramps, so he was out for a decent bit of the second half. And that I guess my biggest takeaway from yesterday, the Tennessee beat Syracuse 73-56, is that you lose Connect for, I'm sure he could have come back in if we really needed him. But it was encouraging to see, hey, your best player and leading scorer goes out, and you still handle Syracuse, and that's what a good, veteran deep team should do. Is they messed around in the zone, kind of threw them off for a little bit in the first half, but they came out in the second half and just played great. And if Josiah Jordan James is giving you I think he had 15 points and 12 rebounds, and Adu had a double-double as well, and Vescovy had a couple great assists. Vescovy's not really scoring a bunch right now, but I mean, they took care of business, and it was encouraging to see them do that with Connect out a lot for most of the set, because Connect carried us in the first half. He had, I think, he had 15 of our 30 in the first half, and dude, he's the real deal. So, a big game tonight. They'll play Purdue. Purdue had an impressive win yesterday over Gonzaga. And for me, it's a revenge game for Tennessee. Purdue knocked us out in one of the most devastating travesties of basketball games 4 years ago.
Yeah.
In the NCAA tournament in the Sweet 16. And it'll be fun tonight to see them match up with big old Zach Edey and see what we got against a team that, Purdue's number 2 in the country. And, we've both talked on this show about we don't buy them in March, but it's not March, it's November. And so yeah, it should be a good challenge tonight.
Yeah. I was able to watch Tennessee play yesterday, and we were texting back and forth a little bit about it. Outside of even when Dalton was in, I think the moments where it feels a little bit, I can't remember the word I used exactly, just like clogged at the first little bit. But I wondered if that's also credit to Syracuse. Like, I didn't personally know anything about Syracuse. I mean, we don't really care much for Syracuse. They're not in the SEC, but
also weird. It's their first season without Jim Boeheim in like 50 years.
Yeah.
So,
and Syracuse only, if anybody had tape on them, literally, you only have like 40 years worth of tape of them playing zone. So when they're going man to man, you're almost a little bit like, oh, can you all play man? And then, they adjusted and they were fine. And dude, Dalton Connect, I don't care what team you root for, but like when Tennessee's on and if say your team's not playing that night, listeners out there, go watch it. Dude, he is so much fun to watch. And I can't believe,
good, man.
I almost can't believe that. I would love to know what the history is behind his high school recruiting, and then to end up from, where'd he come in again? North Dakota State, South Dakota?
Northern Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anywho, he's just so much fun. Hey, look, just what I heard on the street, wanted to get your take real quick, live on air. Hearing that Triple J, his comp is Dylan Brooks. Your thoughts?
Now, explain this comp, because he's nothing like him. Maybe he can be a little frustrating sometimes when he's not playing well, but like Dylan Brooks don't nobody want Dylan Brooks on their team.
For those out there, if you're not watching YouTube, I texted him during the game with the picture of like, oh, hey, here's who he reminds me of. Got zero response. I was a little mad texting this morning. I'm like, I want what I thought was pretty funny. Honestly, Triple J comes out and I love the hairdo. There's nothing wrong with it. Rocks the cornrows. And I'm like, the build, the swagger. And again, I'm in a little bit, I'm kind of like, we're talking like pre-evil Dylan Brooks. So like when he's at Oregon and he's balling, I'm like, Triple J, like he's got it in him. We've seen it over the last couple of years. So look, take it or leave it. If somebody wants to break down the tape on the two, yes, clearly from like a personal characteristic manner, Triple J is like way over here. Dylan Brooks is the complete opposite. So, but for those out there, if you agree with me, leave it in the chat, send us a tweet, whatever. Yeah, I think it's there. We'll see.
Yeah. Send us a tweet saying that JJJ is like Dylan Brooks, and I'll just block you. So it's fine.
Oh my gosh. So, hey, the Cats 2 weeks ago played Kansas up in the Champions Classic, and I had and I told you this, but for the first time in probably 3 to 4 years, that game or really any early non-con game, I actually left feeling good. Which is weird to say because normally I'm like, I want my team to win every game, and I don't think that's completely unreasonable, right? Like as a fan, we all fan the way we want. We always want our team to win, but because of the nature of college basketball, the nature of this team compared to the last couple of years where Cal went full throttle on the portal, and we talked about have they capped? They are what they are because they've been playing college ball for 3-4 years already. Can you really see their ceiling go up anymore? Or it's just simply like they've reached their peak. And if they're a 3-point shooter, they're a 3-point shooter. If it's Oscar, who's just going to give you 30 rebounds, some mid-range shots, and putbacks, like that's kind of it. So I think that was wrapped up in how, again, reason why I felt fine about the Kansas game, because honestly,
Yeah.
you got the number one class, bunch of freshmen, and they had a chance to win. And it was also shocking to see them up 14 at one point. And I think it definitely,
Seriously,
I mean, even Bill Self after the game was like, it completely like rattled us how fast they were playing. And if you saw it, in the first half, Rob Dillingham, the Dilly effect just went nuclear. He hit 4 threes in a row, throws it off to my boy Big Tone. He hits a big 3. So 5 threes in a row. It was like, oh, this is everything we can want when Rob Dillingham is in the game. But Hunter Dickinson did what he was supposed to do. He had a 20-20 game and 20 points, 20-something rebounds. And that kind of goes in a little bit to the St. Joe's game last night, which, by the way, if you're watching YouTube, I look a little flushed because I don't think I went to bed before 11 o'clock the last 3 nights. And that's a combination of basketball, the Vikings losing, of course, and then the Cats losing to South Carolina in football. So I've just had, a really
been
awesome,
a great few days for you.
Yeah. It's just great couple sports days. Even Dee Dee last night after the game was over with, she's like, do you think you need a break from she said Kentucky basketball. I was like, I might just need a break from sports. We'll see. But
our wives are smarter than us.
They are. And I'm glad they let us do this. Yeah, so St. Joe's kind of coming in off of the Kansas game. The Rob Dillingham thing, at least for that one, you can get the minute and a half where he gets 12, 13 points super quick. He flies them down the court. But you also get where he has missed assignments on defense because he's overplaying and tries to go for hero ball steal and taking down the court. But because he does that, leaves the guy he's guarding open, and they drain a 3 because he's getting stuck in a pick and roll situation. And Trey Mitchell can't, he's already tired because he's the only big man playing at the moment until one of the other 3 guys comes back. So him trying to get out to the top of the key, wherever the guy's playing, either he can't get out there quick enough, or if he mildly does, then his man's wide open, right, to go to the bucket and needs to dunk.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of Rob. But honestly, I'm like, you live and die with it. You don't really try to contain him. You got to let Rob be Rob, which is a lot of fun. It's a roller coaster. So
yeah.
The other 2 that really was puzzling the last couple of games was DJ Wagner and Justin Edwards. I've said they're your 2 alpha dogs. If they don't own up to their potential and what they were sold to be, then the Cats they're still going to be really good, but they can't be great. And last night,
kind of weird seeing Edwards only take 6 shots last night.
Yeah, I wondered if it was just kind of the flow of the game. So St. Joe's, look, they lost 2 nights ago to Texas A&M Commerce, and went 6 of 30 from three. Then of course, look, I don't know like what, and I don't know if it's like this at the Tommy Bowl. Sorry, Food City Center at the Tommy Bowl.
Yeah, get it right.
Yeah, respect.
The
So
Food City Center. Why did they do that, man?
I'm not
Nobody's calling it that. And maybe they don't care. They'll take the check from Food City and slap the name on the foot.
But so what was I even talking about? Justin.
Yes.
Yeah, the flow of the game. So they come in. I don't know if it's like this at other places. Obviously, I'm not like watching your respective team, listener, so it may be like this. But at Kentucky, what it seems like for half of Cal's time there, latter half coming into this year, there's always one team. There's always a guy who just plays out of their minds, and it's incredibly annoying. And those in the last 3 years, those are the games that Kentucky lost, especially with the talent they've had. The Evansville stuff, some of those other games in the last couple of years where you're like I can't believe we're dropping these non-con games in November. And last night, I'm pretty sure I lost some hair from the amount I pulled out watching them nail biter. Yeah, to get back to
that Reynolds guy for St. Joe's, 6 threes. My gosh.
Yeah, I think they finished
shooting a casual 6 of 12 from the 3-point line.
No biggie. I think they went 15 threes or so, which good for them. I think that they're actually going to be pretty decent in the A10 for those if anybody wants to keep check on them. But I jokingly was thinking, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they never shot this well again the rest of the year. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, Justin kind of redeems himself a little bit. You finally get to see the potential of the wing in him of driving the ball, not turning it over when he goes in, or like dribbling it off his foot. If he drives, can make a nice little pull up 10-footer. Did that a couple of times. It was good. If he drives, can he dish it back out to a wide open man from the three? He did that. So it was very nice to see. And you're like, okay, that's what we were told up front. That's what he can do. DJ was the other guy, and my man went off for 20-something points. He actually had a chance to hit the game winner, threw a floater up at I think there was a couple seconds left, but misses it, goes to OT. And what DJ was brought in to do was exactly what he did. I hate stall ball, but Cal's normal thing is when it's crunch time, meaning like the last 4 minutes or so, especially the last minute and a half, if they're up, he normally will put in just defensive guys and say, play defense. Problem is, if those guys aren't playing good defense and you score, then those guys like aren't scoring on the other end. So now we're really stuck. But DJ was brought in to do what he did, which was he basically dribbles the ball out of the air for 25 seconds, and they say, spread the floor, get out of the way, takes it to the lane, makes a move, and gets a bucket for you, which when it works, it's beautiful, right? I mean, like you ran clock out. Other teams would be like, I would rather run like a set play.
Sure.
Cal's big, Calisms as he's had since he's ever arrived. Right now, he loves using the words, we're playing random basketball. I think literally random basketball just means you're almost playing pickup a little bit. That just is like, I'm putting what if I'm Coach Cal, I'm basically saying my guys are better than your guys. Just go make a play. And they're all acting purely on instinct.
Call it that. Don't call it random.
They're coining it from Denver Nuggets from years ago, and it's whatever. Look, I said it last year and a little bit this year. If you win, Cal, you get to, you can say whatever you want. And
that's true.
They're winning. So if you want to do the random basketball stuff, or man, we're playing with house money, which just basically means some guys are playing a little bit more loose than other ones. Yeah. So I'm just like, it's just funny that you're like, yeah, Rob Dillingham, Reed Shepherd, they're playing with house money right now. Like, I mean, okay. Cool, dude. I mean,
just keep winning.
Just keep winning. Reed Shepherd the other night hit 7 of 8 threes. I'm like, keep doing that. Whatever you got to do, big fella. I know I kind of ran through that in like different directions. I want to give shout out to my boy Big Tone. Happy birthday yesterday. A little birthday dub for him. God, love him. Trey Mitchell had a couple trays, big time. I know he went 4 of 10, but when the big man from St. Joe's just is basically like, I'm not going to try to run out to the top of the three, like shoot it all day. Trey can shoot. So it's like, do your thing, hits two big ones in OT and helps kind of carry the guys, to the dub. Trying to think if there's really anything else. The only other thing I'm trying to watch and observe is I wonder if there's never going to be a secure finished lineup the rest of the season. Like I think honestly about every game they'll finish with a different lineup. They may start with the same five guys every game. I don't know if they'll finish the same way. It just honestly kind of depends on who's got the hot hand. And that sounds natural and fine. Yeah. But I think you got to have the pieces around. Like if Rob's going to be in at the end of the game, you need Reed. Honestly, Reed basically is the utility man. He could do everything. Him and Antonio actually had a bad game defense wise. But Reed comes in and has 5 steals. He has 4 assists, bunch of deflection. I mean, he did the other things, rebounds, and what you want guys to do rather than if they're not scoring, can you contribute in another way? And Reed does that. And some are even saying Reed might be the best player on the team, which I'm like, okay, I'm okay with that because he's the local Kentucky guy. But I'm almost like I just like I said it earlier. I need DJ and Justin to be the alphas and essentially be the best players on the team, and let Rob, Reed, Aaron Bradshaw, assuming he gets back, Antonio, so on, they all just kind of add to the whole as the other pieces. But if you win, you win. Figure it out. Let the pieces kind of fit, hopefully, in whatever way it comes out to be. So, all right, I talked too much about St. Joe. At one point when the game ended, I told Didi, I was like, I can't feel my feet. The blood pressure was, it wasn't good.
This is a real healthy obsession we have.
Yeah. Maybe I should, I don't know. I was about to joke and say maybe I should get like a Patreon or something and just like talk it out. But
yeah, good idea.
Maybe, I don't know. But I don't know if it'd be good or not.
Something like that.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, dog of the week. It's been a while since we talked about that. You got anybody?
I don't know that I have a person so much as like a thing.
Okay.
And that is where we live I live in Oak Ridge, you live in you live in Powell, outside of Knoxville, for those that aren't in the area. It's this restaurant in town. They mostly do catering. It's called Brown Bag. Brown Bag is great. They catered my wedding. They've catered many events both of us have been to. Well, the week of Thanksgiving, only for lunch, they serve a Thanksgiving sandwich. And it's like this open face on Texas toast with turkey and stuffing and gravy and cranberry sauce. And I went and had it for lunch today. Oh, it's so good. The dog of the week is the Brown Bag Thanksgiving sandwich.
Let's go.
I think tomorrow's the last time you can get it.
Oh,
so for the year. I hope to God it's back next year because I need it.
Yeah,
I might go back for a second tomorrow. It's that good.
Any Brown Bag branch or a specific one?
I went to the Hardin Valley location.
So that's for those of those out there, if you're like the gold standard college basketball Bobby Hoop stamp of approval, right there. Go get you one.
Hey, Brown Bag is not a sponsor yet.
Yeah, it could be. We don't normally give out free advertising. Yeah.
It was that good to be my dog of the week.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving sandwich.
Makes sense to me. Hey, my dog of the week is Kenny Payne. If you don't know, Kenny Payne is the head basketball coach of I affectionately refer to as Loserville, Pooaville, really just Louisville men's basketball. And they, I will give them some credit and talk a little bit nice about it. They took Texas down to the wire up in New York. They're playing in a little 2-day tournament. Texas ended up winning on a game-winning shot. and their roster is primarily filled with transfers, but they're all top 100 guys. So,
Yeah.
to some sense, you're like, okay, like you should be way better than last year when you only won 4 games. And they've shown that, right? Against Texas, they took them down to the wire and they won, or sorry, they lost on a game-winning shot. But reason why I bring them up is because they played Indiana last night. They lost 74-66. Indiana is coached by NBA legend, former Hoosier Mike Woodson. And after the game, Indiana lost the lead kind of in the last couple minutes. And Louisville lost the lead in the last couple of minutes. And it's all because Indiana went zone. Completely flipped it. They didn't know how to react. And when Kenny Payne was asked about it, Kenny said, and I quote, "He tricked me." It's like, Kenny, you can't say that.
Yeah.
A little bit like Dennis being like, best 0-5 team in America. They're the only 0-5 team. You're telling me, Mike tricked me. He got me good.
He tricked me.
He tricked me. He went zone, and we didn't know what to do. And it's like, buddy, you're telling me y'all haven't practiced offense against the zone set 2-3, 3-2.
I guess I can appreciate him. Hey, hand up on me, and not throw his players under the bus or something. But
I guess I just look. It's great content, worth the retweet, quote tweet, just a lolzzz rafflecopter, whatever you want to put on top of it. It felt a little bit when I heard it. I was like, oh, that's something like my 3-year-old would say, of like his buddy who, yeah. Oh, you offered me a toy, and then you snatched it away when I reached out for it. Oh, he tricked me. Like, Kenny. Okay. I guess, yeah, like you said, thanks for owning it, not throwing dudes under the bus. But my dog of the week, he's having a hard time. I'm really
credit to you for saying something nice about Loserville.
Yeah. Louisville.
Credit to you.
Thank you. So we got a couple minutes left. That's our dogs of the week. You want to talk a little football real quick? We're at the end of the season. It feels weird.
Do we have
really?
to?
You don't have to.
Sure, let's talk football.
How are you feeling about Saturday? Senior day against Vanderbilt?
Yep, senior day against Vanderbilt at home. Man, I feel ready to be 100% invested into basketball. I'm ready to turn the page on this season. It's been a weird football season. Some goods, but of just a bit of a wet blanket after last year, best season in 20 plus years. So, I guess my hope for Saturday, obviously I want us to win and go 8. If we're all disappointed about 8-4, like, okay, we got to be in a much better situation with Heupel to be a little bummed about an 8-4 season. This is all, you know what they say about assuming, but assuming we win against Vanderbilt, which, good Lord, you got to beat Vanderbilt. I guess the thing I'm mostly looking for is, man, I just want to see Nico get more snaps, get some more reps. Don't really get why he's not gotten more reps this year. So I want to see Nico sling the pill out there.
Yeah.
And then be right into basketball the rest of the way.
For sure.
What about you, man?
Again, probably don't have like enough time. If I had like another show where it was unlimited time and I'm just recording, like, I'd probably pop off for who knows how long.
Imagine that.
Speaking of Loserville, so they play Louisville Saturday. Louisville is ranked top 10 and like on the edge of they're on the
ACC.
Now that Florida State just lost their start quarterback.
Yeah.
They're on the outskirt of the playoff. I don't think they'll get in.
A lot has to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot that has to happen. Team, I can't wrap my head around it because of the way the last 5 or so years has gone. Whether we've went 10-3 or they've been 7-5 going into the Louisville game, even when Louisville fans were like, "Yeah, we're 7-5, like we got a shot." Cats would just put almost a 50 burger on them. Lynn Bowden would run for almost 400 yards. It just didn't matter. And this year, I'm like, that's not the case. And word on the streets is Stoops has lost the locker room for a second year in a row. We've got wide receivers supposedly saying Devin Leary's just not that tough of a dude, which I'm like, not that tough of a dude. Like, that's a pretty strong statement. And I'm like, you were used to Will Levis, who, when he was good, he was good. Has the injury crap happens, but he was still he was loud and direct, and I think he could command a room. And dudes would listen to him, despite even if he wasn't playing well, because he worked hard in the background. I think Devin's just not like that. That's just not his demeanor, and that's fine. But when you're sliding it to your uncle who says it on KSR, like, yeah, supposedly Devin's just not, they're not really happy with him. I'm like, cool, this is great. Starting running back after the game, sends out a tweet, deletes it a couple minutes later saying, like, I thought I was the bell cow for the team. I'm like, cool. Thanks, Ray Davis. So everything's great. It's awesome. It's just great.
It's great.
It's great. I stayed up till 1:30 in the morning on Saturday because I was fuming. I was on message board, just
little soggy sorrows.
Yeah, you thought you were in like wet blanketville. I was like,
oh yeah.
That plus maybe a little bit of brown water. Who's to say?
Hey.
Who's to say? Whatever. Not a good combo. It's not good. And we're talking like there's how did you lose the vision for your program? Blue collar mentality. We don't give a rip who we're playing. We're going to play as hard as we can. If we lose, so be it, but we're going to play our standard. Now it's this arrogance that as if you've done something and you haven't done anything. You completely crumble when Mizzou runs a fake punt, scores a touchdown, you're up 14-7, and then you lose it all. And that was maybe, at least under Cohen, one of the worst performances I've seen. And that's saying a lot because he's called a lot of good games, and that was awful. So if you're like, what about next year or Saturday? I just wouldn't be shocked if Louisville ends up winning. I wouldn't be shocked if somehow we do it, but if it's all true and we're losing dudes in the locker room, I just don't know how they're going to get up for that game. Hopefully they do, but I'm not.
Shut it down.
Just hit reset.
Shut it down. Football.
Blow it up.
Football.
Blow it up. Basketball. We always were. All right. Hey, I'm Big Papa. This is Bobby Hoops. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll see y'all next time.